This episode of Says Who is brought to you by you through your support of our Patreon at patreon.com/sayswho, our Patreon where pretty much every Sunday you get this all over again. You get me and Maureen doing a thing we call the Town Watch, which is like 30 minutes and looser, and it's available if you give it the $5 or $10 a month level. That $10 a month level also gets you a sticker in the mail every month because you become a member of the Says Who Sticker Club. Everyone is great, and they only are available if you are a member of the Sticker Club. I've had a couple of people reach out recently, be like, where can I order one of these stickers? And the answer is no, you cannot. You have to be a member of the Says Who Sticker Club. It's a very, very, very exclusive club. So,
well, you can join it for a couple bucks.
That's true.
And when you join it for a couple bucks, you help Dan fix his car.
And his life. Patreon.com/sayswho.
Dan.
Maureen.
I was at an office yesterday doing an appointment, and as I was checking out, the person behind the counter said to me, "Are you an author?"
Whoa.
And I said, and I answered like this, yeah. Like it was like I thought I was going to get punched in the face for the answer.
Yeah.
And they said, "You're Maureen Johnson. You wrote Box in the Woods." And I said,
wow.
I said, "I did." And the person was like, "The Stevie Bell mysteries. I read those. Like, you're Maureen Johnson from the books." And
was this appointment at your publisher?
Yes. So that was weird. This was my editor.
Explain it.
And she was like, "Wait a minute." And I said, "Well, you should know this." And they were like, "This is all news to us. Quickly, write this down." She wrote it. We thought it came. We don't know. We didn't know how it got here. So I got recognized there. And as I told you, I was walking down the street, walking the dog the other day, and then I hear Maureen. And then, hello, one of you waved and pointed to your ears and said, "I'm listening to the new episode of Says Who right now. Hi, Dexy." And then Dexy barked in excitement because she heard her name.
Man. Your star is ascending, Maureen.
It's just that I've been feeling like the worst writer in the world and someone who should be quietly put out of their misery or maybe shot into space.
Yeah.
So I was like, I feel a little bit more like it just gives you that little boost where I go home and I sit smugly in front of my computer for a second and then I go, I don't know what I'm doing again. So, I get that little lift.
It's nice you get that little boost.
All of this is to say
momentary boost.
Hi, it's me. I'm the writer. It's me. Can you, if you'd like, I wrote these books. And when you read them and tell people about them, force the books upon them. Just stand there in bookstores or go to bookstores and say, "Hey, have you heard about this new book? I hear it's a real big deal." And then that's great.
Yeah. And if you would like to do that, except for the whole standing in a bookstore talking part,
Right.
But the getting the books part, you can always go to kickbezosintheballs.org, our own little bookshop on the internet where Maureen's books are easily and readily available. And if you're buying things on the internet, you can also go to merch.sayswhopodcast. That is our, as one might guess, our own little merch store. And there's also shop.dansinker.com where I sell 3 patches.
Well, is that it? You just sell 3? You're not going to just stop? You're just not talk anymore?
Just got them. Done. That's all people need to know.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Hello, welcome to McDonald's. Can I take your order, please?
Yeah, I'll get a 12-pack of the breaded shrimp.
No, we don't
curly
have
fries.
breaded shrimp.
Well, just the curly fries.
That's okay. So, first of all,
right.
Breaded shrimp, you're going to need to go to Long John Silver's, which is 2 blocks over. Curly fries, you're going to have to go to Arby's, which is a block in the other direction, and then another block north.
That's a lot of driving. I'd like to just get that here.
We don't have either of those things. Our fries are very straight.
Yeah, just bend them. So I'll get that with the cocktail sauce dip and
That's not
coleslaw.
a thing we have either. We also don't have coleslaw. Okay, but I am able to source all of these things for you. So again,
Right.
cocktail
Great.
sauce dip.
I'll
that's
just pull up
another-
and get those.
No, that's another Long John
Right.
Silver's product.
Right.
The curly fries, you're going to want to go to Arby's.
No, I don't want
Coleslaw,
to.
You can go to Kentucky Fried Chicken where they actually have very, very good coleslaw.
No.
And the Kentucky Fried Chicken is just 2 blocks to the east from here. You're going to not be able to miss it because it's right next to the Popeyes, too.
I don't trust them the way I trust you, kid. Hey, kid,
That's
how's
not
it
the
going?
point. I mean, it's very cold.
Yeah.
And it's snowy.
Yeah.
And so people keep sliding through the drive-thru.
Oh no. You got to be careful, kid. The world needs you.
Well, I don't know. I'm not driving.
Right. It's a good thing. How do you get here?
I take the bus.
I'll drive you. Get in. I'll drive you. I'll drive you to work.
Well, first of all, I'm already at work. And
Right.
second of all, I don't accept rides from people that just drive through the drive-thru.
Yeah,
That's one
but
of the things that they train you on.
well, and you are a professional, so that that's the thing. Your professionalism always. That's why I come here. See, kid, my job is complicated. Now, for a while, I wasn't doing it, and I'm back now, and we're actually just getting some food for the car because we're on our way up from Iowa to New Hampshire.
Yeah, it's a long drive. I would think most people would take the plane.
Oh, most people are taking the plane, but not me. So I got to get all this fucking food and get it up to New Hampshire and somehow keep it warm. So I've put some glowing coals in the back in the trunk, and
That seems like probably not a good situation to have in your trunk.
yeah, that's a good way of describing my whole life right now, kid. You see, this is an exercise in pointlessness. We're just going from one state to the other, having a contest in which only this one guy can really win. You ever see the puppy bowl where they have all the puppies on the fake field and they run around?
Puppy bowl.
Right.
I'm a big fan of the puppy bowl.
Now imagine that one side was puppies and the other side was the actual football team stomping on the puppies.
That sounds terrible. Why would I want to imagine that at all?
Exactly, kid. So that's where I'm at, and that's what we're doing. We're stomping on puppies every day, except the puppies are like Ron DeSantis.
Okay.
So not a puppy, but still, it's just so pointless because we all know what's going to happen.
Yeah. It seems that that's an issue, but it also seems that you want to be at about 3 different drive-through places, none of which are this. So maybe you should drive through and continue on to the other locations that have the food that you're looking for.
Kid, I like what you're laying down. I like where your head's at. Let's go. I'm gonna sit here. You can just climb through this window, get in. We're gonna go get that food. Let's change our destiny, kid. Let's change our destiny. Get in the car.
I'm not doing
I'm not
any
leaving.
of those things.
I'm not moving.
I really
I'm not moving.
need you to drive
I'm not
through.
moving. Get in the
Trust me,
car.
Cars have been coming through that corner very fast, and it's a little bit slippery, and you will probably get hit if you just stay.
Don't threaten me with a good time, kid.
Please drive through.
Welcome to Says Who podcast. That isn't a podcast.
Coping strategy. I'm Dan Sinker.
I'm Maureen Johnson.
Wow, you sound so vivacious.
Do I?
I don't know.
It's easier to talk right now, Dan, because as I've told you, there's something going on with my left eye where it's all blurry, or it feels like someone's constantly shining a bright light into it.
Still.
Oh, apparently it's gonna either be this way forever, and my brain will adjust,
Okay.
or it'll develop a new vascular route so that, as my mother said, that I think the term she used was revascularized.
Okay.
So, or something, or my brain will just be like that. I'll rewire that bit so you don't see that big blurry thing anymore. But it's a real drag when you're writing a book and you have to read a lot, and you really can't rely on the old left eye.
Yeah, it seems like you should get an eye patch.
No, apparently that would really fuck things up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It would look cool, though.
It would look amazing.
If you were an author in an eye patch,
Dan,
maybe that's your new thing in 24.
I know 2 authors that either are blind in one eye, or my friend Libba Bray, who is entirely missing one eye and has a glass eye.
Okay.
So, and
You could be a trio.
she's taken her eye out and let me touch it. She's also
Wow.
let me touch it when it was in her face.
Wow.
At a
This
wedding.
went in a whole direction that I was not expecting.
Yeah, my friend Cassie's wedding, Libba and I were in the bathroom, and I said, "Can I touch your eye?" And she was like, "Of course you can." And
Shit
she
gets real in a bathroom wedding, apparently.
Yeah, and she just let me like touch the eye because it's glass. She doesn't care.
It's true.
Yeah, I've seen it before too, and I've held it, and I was like, "You should like put that in people's drinks and stuff." She's like, "Oh yeah, I've done all kinds of things with my eye."
Wow.
Yep.
I had no idea we were starting this way. We're starting hot.
Mm-hmm.
We are starting hot.
Yeah, so many people have told me like this just happens. Like sometimes just weird shit just happens to one of your eyes.
That's true.
As you've told me.
I can vouch for that.
Yeah.
I can vouch for that many times over. Sometimes weird shit does happen to your eye.
Dan, bodies are weird, life is weird, but we keep burning this year. We absolutely keep burning.
We do.
You think a little bit of I can't see out of the one eye really is going to stop me? It's not going to stop me.
I'm going to go with no on that.
Absolutely not.
I'm going to also amend that no with, but it is going to have you bumping into stuff.
I can see. It's just this third of towards the nose is all blurry.
You know,
it's mostly hard to read.
Back in the day when you would go to the mall and there were KB toy shops, and in front of the KB toy shop, they would have like a little table, the round table with sides, and inside that round table with sides were a bunch of battery operated like yappy dogs that would do flips or would just run around, and they would bump into the sides and then go. That's how I'm imagining you with your new eye issue. You aren't going to stop. You're just going to be a yappy dog that bumps into things and then just goes in the other direction. You're like a Roomba that writes a book.
Dan, that's been me for years. I got all kinds of neurological problems. But my problem is my eyes have always been so goddamn good. I'm one of those people like my vision is just incredible. I can basically see into space. It's just I've always had such good vision that any disruption is just making it everything that runs my brain go, what? They're all running around with little. I can't comprehend it.
Yeah.
Like it's just so confusing to me that my brain is trying to just grapple with the fact that anything is fucking with my eyes.
Not me, man. My brain shut that shit down a long time ago.
You
remember in the 90s, the Magic Eye posters?
Yes.
They just looked like wavy lines and shit, and then people would stare at them and be like, oh, it's a pirate ship. Never once in my whole life have I seen a Magic Eye poster because my brain just shuts one eye down if they try to cross.
Oh, no. My first roommate in college, someone I went to high school with, she was legally blind without her glasses.
Yeah.
And she would say, well, Christmas was always really beautiful because before I put my glasses on, everything was a big whirl. She's like, it was just blurry, beautiful colors everywhere.
I remember when I was little, I would space out staring at our wallpaper, which was like a vertical repeating pattern. Because if I just stared at it long enough, it was like a Magic Eye poster. This was before my brain kind of took over on shit. Because suddenly the things would combine enough that the wallpaper would look three-dimensional. Be like, wow, that's sticking out. It's great.
My brain is struggling, Dan, because I can normally, see things that are like a quarter of a mile away. Like I'm one of those weird people that's like something moved in the bushes over there. Oh, I can see it. I can identify it. That's why when I'm at home at my parents' house, when I see things far away, I'm like, oh yes, look, a deer is in that field over there.
One time when Avatar came out originally, I went to go see it because everyone was like, it's amazing, blah, blah, blah. And I was sitting there and my brain was like, I can't fucking deal with this at all. And at one point, suddenly, instead of the 3-dimension looking like it was popping out, everything inverted and everyone's faces were smashed in.
Dan!
Yeah, it was crazy. That was the moment where I was like, I think I might have an eye issue.
Dan!
Something's weird here.
I don't even know what to say to that shit.
It was wild. I will forever, in my head, I can picture the Na'vi with this crushed in face.
I have to sometimes, I wear glasses when I read now, and
Yeah.
I forget them a lot because I never needed them. And my brain is still fighting this. Like, no, you're like, it's just this, any disruption in my vision is just so, it's making a whole department in my brain absolutely frazzled.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get to the point where I know that if I kind of accept it and relax about it, like and that it'll help my brain sort of accept the field distortion.
Yeah.
And apparently they're like, this was their big conclusion. Either it will go away or it will not. I was like, well, thanks.
That's handy.
And a lot of people have said they've had this and then it goes away after a couple months.
Right.
Basically, your brain overrides it, and
your brain basically just cuts that part out, and you don't even know.
I'm trying to write a book right now, and
there's that.
Seeing is a big part of
it. It seems like that might be helpful.
I did order some new glasses.
Oh, that's
I'm trying to do everything. I got every single piece of advice. I bought a new humidifier.
Okay.
Well, apparently dry eye makes it a little bit worse. So and it is, you could make beef jerky in our bedroom right now.
Yeah.
Like, it's so, you wake up and I'm like,
yeah.
I drink a full water bottle during the night.
I would be peeing for hours.
I just wake up and I go, ugh, and then I take about 3 big gulps. And by the time I wake up, this whole little water bottle I have next to my bed is empty. It is dry.
I just want everyone to know that Maureen and I could not be dressed more oppositely right now.
Right.
I am in my basement where it is maybe 50 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
I have a winter hat on. I have a very thick sweatshirt on, and I am cold. And Maureen logged on, and it looks like you're in Jamaica. Like you're dressed like you're on the beach in Jamaica.
It's that time of year.
A short sleeve, cut off. Your hair looks sort of, did you recently get it, like your highlights done or something? Because you look sun-kissed. Do you have a lamp on? Sad lamp hitting you on the side or something?
No, it's just maybe it's...
Your hair looks sun-kissed. It's bright coming in the window. I don't understand it.
That brightness is snow brightness. It's that kind of snow brightness. It is hot as fuck in here. I found a monkey in the hallway eating a banana. It's hot. It's jungle-like.
It is fucking cold in Chicago. It has been cold for days and days and days and days. We have like negative 30 wind chills.
That's like where Oscar is in Sweden. He's in Sweden right now.
And the kid have not left the house since Saturday. I'm the unlucky fool that has to occasionally take the dog out.
I did a run in the snow last night because someone has a little bit of a upset tummy puppy. I don't want to listen. Yesterday,
you don't need to name names. We can all get, we can all be mysterized as to who that is. That's not a word.
I took a bath last night and I came into the bedroom and I was like, what's that smell? And then I kind of walked all around the house and the whole living room, that little dog had filled it with her farts. Like it was like a cloud.
No
and
good.
I was like, oh no, little girl. So she has the constitution of iron, this one.
Yeah.
So we had a 3 a.m. snow run. She woke me up.
That doesn't seem like a constitution of iron, TBH.
But I mean, this is one of the few times that she's had a...
Okay.
She's not... Because with Zelda had a lot of digestive issues.
Yeah.
We frequently were like, 4 runs a night was not uncommon. Dexy is very seldom.
I took Spotty out last night. I think it was the actual temperature was like -6 and the feels like was like -24 or something. It is like, it's not good. We made it, I don't know, a half a block, and she found some frozen fucking thing on the ground to eat. And then the whole night she was kind of like, I'm not sure that I made the right decision. It's like, oh, really? But then she didn't actually go out. And then this morning, she had a pretty normal set of things, although did yet again try to eat a frozen thing on the ground, which I had to rip out of her mouth this time.
And It's cold, but it's warm in here, Dan. Come on over.
Man, I wish.
Come on over to New York City, where if you live in a big apartment building and you live on a top floor, the heat rises up here.
Not here. Our house, I think, is 100 years old this year. And I think the walls are basically empty. So it gets very cold. Very cold in our house. Even with a brand new furnace.
Well, I assume this apartment, like it's great in terms of I have only ever seen a roach like once in many years. It is great for that. Like they're really on top of the vermin. But I'm assuming that just because it's a New York building, our walls are insulated with roach exoskeletons and, mouse carcasses and, probably a dead mobster or just mixed into the concrete.
Yeah.
So
before I came down here, I discovered it's actually very sunny right now, which is, of course, one of those like deceptive things because it's sunny and fucking cold as balls. But our front door, which is, again, old, has a lot of window panes on. It's like mostly little window panes that are, 1-ply window panes. So most of those window panes have had ice on the inside for the last few days, which is great. Anyway, the sun was coming in the door. I think maybe the wind direction has shifted because the door, like standing in front of the door, was not painfully cold. And it felt great. And I just stood there for a long time with the sun coming in through the door windows that were no longer iced. And felt good.
I think you need some insulation, Dan.
Yeah, but you know how much that shit costs? That's not happening.
So please put on another layer at the sticker level.
Sticker level ain't covering insulation in
well, once we introduce our video level, then
the insulation level. Anyway, it's cold. It's cold everywhere. Like I feel bad complaining because I know people that are in even worse cold. Holy cow.
Yeah, Sweden apparently quite cold.
Yeah, I mean, I think I saw someone in Montana and it was like the actual air temperature was, or like not the feels like, but the actual temperature was like -22 with the wind chill being like -60. And no.
It made me remember.
It's been a while since we've had a winter this cold.
In 2 weeks, I'm going to be in Mexico.
Oh, man.
Like far enough south.
Oh.
And on a beach.
That sounds wonderful.
Where I think every day is going to be 80 degrees.
That would be the best.
Writing retreat, baby.
There you go.
I'm excited. This is our vacation. So we vacation / Oscar's coming. I'm like, you can just sit there and float.
Yeah.
And I'll write stuff. I'm also trying to go to Sweden with him. He always has to go to Sweden.
Fun.
So
Sweden's
I'm like,
great.
in the summer, one of these times, because he's been going to Sweden for a long time. I'm like, I got to go to Sweden with Sweden.
He's been going to Sweden.
I've yet to go with him, so I really need to go.
Stockholm is amazing.
That's where he's at. He's in Stockholm.
There is a museum in Stockholm that is a ship that was brought up from the ocean. And they managed to keep it preserved. It's like a pirate era, whatever that era would have been, ship, like a merchant ship or whatever. And they have managed to keep it preserved because it was like in the water forever, but they have to like keep the whole thing wet and all this shit. And but it's basically entirely intact and you can get to walk around it and it is incredible.
I need to go to that.
It's really amazing. And I think there's an ABBA museum in Stockholm. How have you not been to that?
There sure is, because I just haven't been to Stockholm. But here's the thing. When he goes there, he only gets to go to the office and back.
Right.
But me, if I go with him, I see the ship, see the ABBA museum. He stayed in the hotel that's owned by a member of ABBA. That's an ABBA-themed hotel that had a dial on the wall that when you turned it, it would play various ABBA songs. And I was like, well, we are staying in that shit.
Yeah, for real.
I don't care how many trams you have to take to get to work or whatever you have to do. We're staying in the ABBA hotel.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. So, yes.
There's nothing stopping you.
No, there's like a lot of things stopping me. But I'm going to make... This year, Dan, I'm thinking about 2024. Because
Yeah.
remember, January is a whole prep month.
Right.
Celebrating more. I know this is a regular thing, but like really doing the thing.
Yeah.
I'm even thinking about the fall already. How I'm gonna make all those like cookies and shit. Oh my God.
All right. You can make cookies anytime.
Dan, for Christmas, my mother gave me, aside from the coffee, the cappuccino machine, a whole pile of baking stuff.
Oh, that's fun.
Just like, just a whole shit ton of stuff.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can't bake now.
Well, that's great.
I have everything but the stand mixer.
Yeah, you should just do that.
So if you guys want to join the cookie club to help Dan get insulation for $50 a month, I will. What would be the cost for me to send you baked goods?
You don't want to do that. That's a lot of work, Maureen. You have enough going on in this world.
No, I really do. But can you imagine?
You should allow yourself a stand mixer. You should just order one today.
There's no space for it, Dan. There really isn't. I can't give up one more inch in this kitchen.
All right.
I can make anything in my kitchen. I have curry seasoning boxes. I'm prepared at a minute's notice to make pretty much anything, like sushi rolls and tagines and curries, and I've got it all. But I've used every inch of space.
Okay.
And a label maker that only prints out labels in Cooper Black.
Well, that's classy.
Yeah.
That's classy.
But
that's
Dan,
a classy label maker.
That's enough about us.
Is it?
Sure is, Dan, because there's stuff going on.
It's true, Maureen. Guess what?
What?
I don't want to talk about all that stuff.
You have to.
So anyway, about that stand mixer.
Dan?
Well, it's exciting, Maureen, because the presidential primary season has officially begun.
We're in it, you guys.
We're in it.
Oh, no. I've got my feet stuck in a stool. Sorry. I've put my feet on a little stool and it collapsed with my feet inside of it, and I was in a little foot trap.
Sure.
I got my foot stuck in a foot trap, Dan, like I was in a bear trap.
Why not? Last night was the Iowa caucuses, which every major network treated like it was a thing that might have any outcome that is possible. And so they had their normal little graphics and all that shit, and they tracked it like, who knew? Who knew? And yet, what do you know?
What happened?
Donald Trump ran away with it. Winning 51% of the caucus vote, 30 points above the second place finisher, which maybe it was a surprise because it was Ron DeSantis, who's been on a precipitous slide. He won 21.2% of the vote. Nikki Haley, who people thought maybe was going to win second, won 19.1. None of this fucking matters. Vivek Ramaswamy got 7% of the vote. Earlier that day, a bunch of right-wing scumbags, including Elon Musk, predicted on Twitter that he might actually win Iowa.
That Vivek Ramaswamy was going to win, right? Yeah,
that he was, being underpolled by the, mainstream media and blah, blah, blah. Like Elon Musk literally was like, yeah, I think this looks like reality. If nothing else, they were all convinced that he was certainly going to place a strong second. Instead, he has announced that he's suspending his campaign. Next up, New Hampshire, which votes next Tuesday, January 23rd, or at least as of now, Trump is leading, but not by as much, over Nikki Haley.
Dan.
Let's get real, Maureen.
Okay.
Treating this as an actually competitive primary feels fucking stupid. Like every report that I read that talks about this and like it tries to it's just fucking dumb. I don't actually know why it is being covered the way it's being covered, because basically we are staring down a primary season where both party candidates are running as incumbents, even though one actually is.
Dan, who of these clowns is he going to pick as VP, or is it going to be some other person?
I don't think he's picking any of these clowns as VP. I just think that he has too thin of a skin to pick anyone that has say
Run against
anything
him.
bad,
Right.
or run against him. My personal guess is it will be Kristi Noem,
I was just thinking, yeah.
the governor of South Dakota,
Yeah.
who has done nothing but kiss his ass for, all these years. Didn't run for president, has campaigned in absentia for him. That would be my gut.
And what's exciting about that is we'll get to see him both compliment and destroy her because she's a woman
Mm-hmm.
as he goes along. So that's going to be a new thing to really enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, I think my gut is that's who it would be, but there's also the problem that he hates women. So
Really hates women, yeah.
So there's that. Like, I get at a certain level, he might be like, yeah, it'd be great. And then he would suddenly realize, like, oh, he has to do more than, like, I don't know, slap her ass or whatever.
What does she look like? Does she look, because there's a Trump look for women. All the women in the Trump orbit have a very specific long hair.
Mm-hmm.
They all have long hair that's styled in a very similar way. He's had women work for him, like his press secretaries, but they all kind of have the same look.
She doesn't look completely unlike Melania.
Okay, yeah, there it is.
She's
a long hair.
Yeah, here I'm gonna send you this.
I could look her up.
Her picture right on the top.
All right, I'm gonna look right now. Open link in a new tab. Let's see. It's exactly what I was picturing.
Yeah.
Like, I could have told you she's got long brown hair, beach waves. She's got the eyelashes. 100%. Yep, there's a look of the women in the Trump orbit, and they have a very specific. They all have long hair in a very kind of beach waves, and they all look like influencers of a certain type who are trying to sell you yoga pants and candles.
Yeah. Definitely. Anyway, I think if he didn't hate women, she would be a shoo-in. But he does hate women. So.
But he does employ or have women in a circle that look like that. So she might be okay.
Yeah, but he would have to put up with her for a long time. I don't know.
He's put up. He has an inner circle of some women that kiss his ass. Like, he had that woman that was his little whisperer that followed him everywhere. What was her name?
Isn't it fun that we can't even remember some of those people now?
It's because they would circle through so fast, but she was extremely beautiful. She looked a little bit like Kate Middleton, and she was like his aide de camp. She was always with him. She was the only one that could calm him down.
Right. Now, yeah, but I can't remember what her name is either.
Yeah. And
she ended up testifying against him, though. So
they made, I think they made her, and she was so sad. But yeah, she kind of looked like, he always has like a whisper, a woman whisper that's like,
Anyway, we're just fucking stuck with this shit.
Yeah, Dan. I mean, sorry about my dog barking in the background. Again, we have new dogs next door.
It's fun.
Yeah. Well, at least that's the only news about Trump right now.
Well, in fact, he has moved on from Iowa. The New Hampshire primary is next Tuesday. They just wrapped up in Iowa, but Donald Trump's making a little pit stop in New York City, where he is right now, along with you.
I can feel it in the air.
To attend the opening of E. Jean Carroll's second defamation suit against him. This one builds off of last year's rape and defamation case that she won. This one is about statements that he made after she filed the original suit, statements that he continues to make to this very day, which seems great for him, or especially great for her, I suppose. Anyway, he did appear. He is in the courtroom as we record. They are doing jury selection right now. They are expected to make opening arguments perhaps this afternoon. He would like to make that statement, which is also what he did at the closing arguments of his business fraud suit last week, which turned out, I know this is a shock, Maureen, turned out to become an absolute fucking clown show.
When is the decision expected on that one?
Anytime.
And that's the judge making that decision.
Yeah, it's not a jury trial, so it's just a judge. So
presumably Judge Erdogan, which I believe is how it's pronounced, is like putting himself in a cement bunker somewhere, like he's just in a bolt hole somewhere with a bunch of canned goods before he makes this announcement.
Yeah. I mean, I think that there's a level of, you have to give the sense that you are deliberating. But I think my guess would be he could have, especially after Trump's debacle in his courtroom, he could have probably issued a ruling right away. But so ahead of closing arguments, Trump's lawyers had notified the judge that he wanted to make a closing statement. And I'm going to let the New York Times describe what followed next. Quote, "In a non-jury trial, I am inclined to let everyone have his or her say," the judge wrote in an email last week to the lawyers. He cautioned, however, that Mr. Trump would have to abide by the rules and that apply to lawyers. He would have to stick to the facts of the case and the law and refrain from attacking Letitia James, the attorney general, the judge himself, or the judge's staff members. Trump's lawyer, Christopher Keiss, objected, but the judge insisted. And when Mr. Keiss missed a deadline to agree, it seemed that Mr. Trump had given up. That was like the night before.
Right.
The Times writes, he had not. On Thursday, Mr. Keiss asked the judge again. Thursday is when closing arguments were to begin. Asked the judge again whether the former president could deliver his own closing arguments. The judge seemed inclined to allow it, but addressed the former president directly, asking him to restrain himself and abide by those conditions. That was all the permission Mr. Trump needed. He took the microphone and that he did not, said that he did not see how he could stick to the facts and the law when the case went beyond them, and then monologued for 5 minutes. He attacked the judge, saying, quote, "You have your own agenda." He went after Miss James, accusing her of perpetrating, quote, "a fraud on me." Perhaps the most surprising feature of Mr. Trump's closing arguments was that he stopped willingly after 5 minutes. When the lunch break arrived, Justice Engoron asked him to finish, and Mr. Trump obliged. So he just did a full 5 minute, like a tight five stand-up set in the judge's chambers where he just insulted the case, insulted the judge, insulted the DA.
Now, the E. Jean Carroll trial, is this a second trial based on the fact that he continued to defame her?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is a second defamation suit. So the interesting thing is it's a pretty narrow case, right? It is not, the facts are not in question, right? The facts were decided with the last case. So this is not trying whether or not she was raped or sexually assaulted. I think the final decision was sexual battery or something, something along those lines. And there also is not an argument as to whether or not she was defamed. This is about new stuff, and specifically around how much damages she should be awarded for the second set of defamation, essentially. Right. So the judge has said Trump can speak, right? But similar to the previous one, he has to speak within the bounds of the case, right? He cannot say things like he didn't know her, which he says all the time, because that has already settled, right? That is all settled law at this point. Despite these clear guardrails, if he does speak, that he's going to say whatever the fuck he wants.
Yes.
Until the judge cuts him off.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing to me is that clearly this is a new strategy for him, right? Show up, be loud, act like a fucking martyr when you're told to shut the fuck up. Because his supporters fucking love it. This is now basically, you have to imagine all of the court cases, at least the ones that will end up happening, are extensions of his campaign. At least the way they see them, or he sees them. So, yeah, his supporters love it, and everyone else in the party is going to fucking fall in line because they're terrified of his supporters and of him.
Dan, when the first time, because remember, we are now in our third Trump campaign, the first time was very shock and awe because no one thought he was really going to win, and just crazy stuff happened. And it was like watching a crazy reality show for the first time.
Yeah.
The second time was just so torqued by the fact that we were in a pandemic. You know, everything was so weird.
Yeah.
And we were all sort of still trapped inside.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very much so.
So that was that colored a lot of it. And they couldn't go out and do a lot of stuff, although he did. And then like he actually killed some people.
Oh, yeah. He killed people.
Herman Cain.
He killed Herman Cain.
Yep. So he had the rallies anyway, and people died. And then this time, because he's defanged himself in a certain way, that his old platform was Twitter, and Twitter has fallen apart, and he has this Truth Social, but no one really gives a shit about that in the same way.
Right.
And it's this muted madness.
Yeah.
That we are drowning out in the same way that my brain is trying to drown out this blurriness in my eye. Right. We have been so used to it. He's been president. He's been not president. He's got in 4 criminal trials and like 2 other cases. And we're just used, and we've had an insurrection.
Yeah.
We're so used to the noise.
Right.
That I don't think we hear very much of it anymore. And also, I think even the most fervent people know it doesn't fucking matter.
Right.
And by not matter, I mean, it sort of doesn't matter what either of them say. Like, we kind of know who the 2 candidates are going to be.
Right.
And you'd be very hard pressed to find an undecided person.
Right.
So what weird outside factor is the thing that's going to come in and swing this?
I mean, I think those are very good questions.
A plague of bats, sinkholes.
Yeah, sinkholes.
Weird ballot things. One of them dies. Like, I feel like an outside force. We are just the ball that's rolling until the outside force stops.
I mean, one of them dies is not outside of the bounds of possibility.
I'm going to put that at 40%.
Yeah, I think, yeah, well.
Because they're both older.
Oh, yeah.
At least one has incredibly unhealthy habits. I don't know about Joe Biden's habits, but we know Trump's habits
seems to be quite healthy. He's like
aside from all the ice cream and stuff, then he seems basically fine.
Yeah.
The strain of running.
Yeah.
Is being president, running for president. I think that it's like running a marathon every day.
Yeah.
So that's not going to be hard. It's going to be hard on both of their systems.
Yeah.
Trump did some in-person campaigning. Biden never went on the campaign trail last time because he couldn't.
Right. He did a few, but they were few and far between.
Right. So what impact does that make? The physical moving around.
Right. Well, and then you have the kind of additional layer that for Biden, running to unseat Donald Trump is, I think, an easier argument to make than his incumbency.
Right.
But for reasons both good and unfair, he is deeply unpopular, within the country and within his own party, and so he has to defend his record or promote his record while also reminding people that Donald Trump is real fucking shitty and also dangerous. And I think that's a hard position. I think that is a hard position, especially when, the level of get out there campaigning. You're absolutely right. He did not campaign like that in 2020 because it was fucking 2020. So, yeah.
And the electorate itself is broken.
Right. Very
also,
much.
Say the older people that voted for Trump in 2016.
Yeah.
Are some of those people no longer here?
Sure.
You know, you're not going to see a lot of young people voting for Donald Trump.
You would think.
You're going to see some, but I don't think you're going to see great droves of young people voting for Trump.
Right. But I think it's also, I think that I think there are a few factors that are affecting the possible youth vote turnout. You know, the promises of student loan forgiveness that were unable to be done. It's hard to promise that again. Now I think that the position that Biden has taken on Gaza has become a liability among young voters, especially. I think that it's, the last time around, the kind of outpouring of the youth vote and the kind of emergence of Gen Z. I don't know that we see that. I think that's harder. Again, I just think it's a harder position of an incumbent than it is as somebody that wants to topple a dictator. Now you have to be like, no, but really, remember, he's not good.
Right.
Also, you don't like me, but remember him.
So let's also roll this clock back 8 years.
Yeah.
So we have people like your son voting.
Yeah. This will be his first election.
And he was 10, 11 when Trump ran around the first time.
Yeah.
What memories do they have?
Right.
Of what happened?
Trump.
Right.
Yeah. No,
how much of they have always heard the noise, like it's always been there with them.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Anyone that is 18 right now, their main relevant experiences of a president is Donald Trump.
Yeah, let's think about this for a second. Trump. If you're 18 right now, here are the things that have happened to you. Donald Trump was president when you were a kid.
Yep.
It was pure fucking chaos.
Yeah.
There was a goddamn worldwide pandemic.
Yeah.
You may not have been in school for a year.
Yeah, you went home for a year and a half.
So you were ripped in and out of context of school.
Yeah.
You may have loved it. You may have hated it. It may have been a major destabilizing influence. Maybe you were a freshman in college and you never got to go or something.
Right.
Like it's everything. There was a fucking insurrection. And you're tired of all this bullshit. You're like, we have so many pressing problems in the world right now. And all of you are fucking around with these two guys.
Right.
And now you are going to try to get on campus and whip us up for what exactly?
Right.
Go
fuck yourself. You have articulated that perfectly.
I mean, I would be like, you can absolutely go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
I'd be like, where's the keep burning, burn it down option?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think you have articulated the problem very well.
Hey kids, who want to get out there and act in the world. Here is, I'm not ageist. I don't have any problem with someone who is 80.
Right.
Being 80 is just the state of being 80. It's fine.
Sure.
And if you're a nimble, flexible 80 that has a lot of world experience and a lot of thoughts, great. You might make a fantastic candidate. If you are a person who is a professional political operator, who is at this point, what's he running for? What the fuck is he running for? Because he believes he's the only one that can take on Trump? It's not true.
Oh, Biden?
Yeah. So what's he running for?
I mean, I would guess that he's running to secure his legacy.
This is the thing that fuck it. They're both running to secure their fucking legacies.
Yeah.
Fuck your legacy.
Right.
You want a good legacy? Because I don't think Biden, none of us were like Biden. Like I don't think any of us, there were certainly people with more positions to get like, if we're going to do it now. What the fuck are we all waiting for? I think is certainly the mood of young people and a mood of a lot of other people is the world is literally burning. What the fuck are you all waiting for?
Yeah.
This is not the time to try to do half measures of anything The enemy is literally at the gates.
Right.
This is going to be the insurrection election. The
Yeah.
people that are voting for Trump are, I think, at heart, insurrectionists. They've got taxation is theft bumper stickers on in 1776. I fucking know these people. They live in my goddamn neighborhood back at home.
Yeah.
Like, I know how they talk and how they walk.
Yeah.
And you've got a status quo party and an insurrectionist party
Right.
during a time of radical change when the earth is burning and we've been through a pandemic and there's a war going on, and you're like, you know what we should do is we should really stay the course. Fuck everything, Dan.
Yeah. You are hitting it on the head.
And then they're going to just send us 17,000 texts a day asking for $3 at a time.
Yeah.
Until you want to throw your phone into the sea.
Mm-hmm.
Here, these half-assed stay the course politics are going to kill us all.
Yes.
So, 2024. So, yeah, I would imagine there's going to be a certain amount of anger with young people.
Yeah.
And also all the other people.
Yeah. All people.
And when you say are a Republican who doesn't super, maybe you've veered from Trump or you're not in the Trump cult.
Yeah.
Okay. Like my dad has been a little bit more like, I think we've exposed my dad as Trump loving relative. No,
I think you are for the first time.
I'm lifting the veil.
Do that?
Yes.
Okay.
He's the one with the flag that I defaced. He had the Trump flag and I cut out the word. He has expressed his interest in Nikki Haley.
Yeah.
That's who he wants to vote for. But she's not going to be running. It's going to be Trump, which means that if you're not a Trump cultist, you have to know everything you know about Trump and recommit, which means that in order to square that circle and deal with the cognitive dissonance, much like my eye trying to make sense of a big blurry patch, you're going to have to justify that in your own head and tell yourself that all that shit is okay.
Yeah. I think that level of mental gymnastics is, I think, one, entirely what everyone would happily do, but also I think that they can just short circuit that by saying, oh, but I don't like Biden.
That was his reason. He hated Hillary so much.
Right.
That he was like, well, I guess I'm voting for Trump. Like it's like, as long as you aren't the Democrat. But I think that the kind of psychological toll of realizing he's, been found guilty of rape. He has 4 criminal trials going, there was an insurrection.
Yeah.
That there was an insurrection. Like someone like my dad is real like patriotic and stuff. The insurrection bothered him.
Okay.
And he tried to blame it on Antifa. And I don't know. He doesn't really talk about it anymore, but he thinks that was really wrong. He thought the insurrection was really bad.
Yeah.
He's still going to they're all going to have to, and I think there's a lot of them like that. They're going to have to still get that together in their heads. And that fact, when you recommit to the cult, even when you know the leader is like, taking everyone as a wife or whatever, like you're like, but I got to recommit.
Yeah.
That does something to a person.
Yeah.
You got to sign on the line again.
Yeah. But I think they will.
They will, but what toll is it going to take on them? And there are true believers out there. I've certainly met some of the real true believers.
My gut is the toll is less than a person would like it to be. My gut is, we're 1 week away from him being the only candidate.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you don't like him, you're probably going to vote for him, because you don't like the other guys more. The other guys are socialism. The other guys are the fucking specter of, like, I would fucking love them to be what the narrative on the right is.
Oh, it's the dream.
It would be incredible.
They're coming to take your guns and get socialized medicine. I'm like, hot damn, let's go.
Sign me up.
Let's go. Finally. Now we're jazzed.
Yeah. But, I think that I don't think it's all that difficult. I think you've seen plenty of people that were in fucking Congress hiding for their lives saying, people that voted to impeach him that are like, oh yeah, I endorse. He's cool.
I looked at. I think that they will do it. And I think it will be easy, but I think that on some level, based on because the first time they were like, he's different. I'll just vote for him because he's not Hillary.
Right.
The second time, I think they were like, he's still like our brand.
Right.
And since then, since he's been arrested 4 times.
Yeah.
And he has been arrested 4 times, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like booked.
Yep. 4 times.
And staged an insurrection.
Mm-hmm.
I do think they are going to think about that. And as they recommit, in order to make that leap, some of them are going to sustain a bunch of new moral damage. Because I think it means that you're like, well, maybe I could be an insurrectionist too. Maybe I could, I don't know. I think it's something to think about. I think they will easily press the button, but I think that they have to do it knowing what they know.
Right.
I've seen my dad kind of struggle with this.
Right.
He's like, I've seen him trying to make 2 and 2 equals 7. He's like,
right.
He is being arrested, but I watch them trying to really struggle to do the math.
Right. But I think once the campaign really begins in earnest, once the news, Fox News has been sort of iffy on Trump, at least as much as you can define Fox as being iffy on Trump, they will fall in line. Once all of the messaging apparatus hit lockstep, it doesn't become difficult.
The AI, just the ease at which they'll be able to pump out stuff. I've seen the shit that, I've seen the email forwards that they get and it's so fucking simple.
Yeah.
So,
you're really going upbeat.
Well, Dan, I'm keeping it burning. Hello, welcome to Maureen's mindfulness moment. So, okay, everybody. This week we're looking into the abyss. We're really looking. And we're looking to see what shapes we see in it. Because it says it's just an abyss, but if you're really focused down, do you see stuff? Do you see lines? Do you see patterns? Do you see something that looks like a dragon down there? Don't just assume that it's one big gaping maw. There could be teeth down there. Let's look in it together. The gaping maw. And, let's really size it up and accept that it's there. Can we jump over it? Who knows? Probably not. But why don't we try together? Let's all join hands and jump over the abyss together. And if we all go in, we go in together. But some of us might make it over. And if we make it to the other side, imagine the rainbows that might be there. Of course, we'll mourn our fallen and the people that wouldn't stop holding hands and all got dragged down into the abyss together. This has been Maureen's mindfulness moment.
Well, there you go.
Was that good?
Oh, sure. It was
Did
great.
that help?
I think definitely that was helpful. Absolutely.
We're really going to have to talk our way through this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's going to be rough.
Here's the thing is that all along, the words I've always said was, we're not ready.
Yeah.
And now that we're getting into it, now we're stepping into the bathwater. Ooh, it's a little hot. I feel very clear-eyed and calm in a way that I'm like, oh, that's a 17-headed dragon. It's just
right.
a monster has come out of the sea and is stepping onto the shores of New York.
I think the trick is, you to your vast credit have been saying we're not ready for 24 for a long time. There are other people that are just realizing it. But I think one of the tricks is to use your bathwater metaphor. You have been ready for a hot bath. You stick your foot in, you go, oh, that's a little hotter than I thought, but I'm ready. And it isn't until you get fully immersed that you realize you're actually bathing in hot bleach.
Right.
I think no matter what we think we're ready for, we're also not ready.
Right. Right. So it's this kind of core question of, do we disengage? And it's
Right.
not possible to disengage right now, but we have to desperately engage with something else, because this election ain't it
Right.
in this form.
Right.
This ain't it.
Yeah. Well, on that note,
Dan,
Says Who is
wait,
made
no,
possible
we can't do that, Dan.
by you. Through your support of our Patreon at patreon.com/sayswho, our Patreon where you could get this, maybe a little more positive every Sunday. A little something we call the Town Watch. If you give it the $5 or $10 a month level, that $10 a month level also gets you a sticker in the mail
It's
every
more
month.
fun than this.
It is. Our theme music is performed by Ted Leo. Our logo is designed by Darth. You can contact us at Says Who Podcast on Twitter. I need to change that. Problem is I just don't have the mental cognitive time to do it, but I will. Or at Says Who at omfg.town on Mastodon. You can email it hey, that is HEY at sayswhopodcast.com. Join the discussion on Facebook at /group/sayswhovians. Our Facebook group is moderated by Janice Dillard. You can also join the fan-run Discord server at tinyurl.com/sayswhodiscord. Whatever you do, spread the word, subscribe, leave stars and reviews on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever it is that you listen, including now on YouTube, because that's apparently where some people listen to podcasts now, which seems insane to me. But what doesn't? So it's over there too. There's not video or shit. It's just the logo, but I don't get it. I don't get it, kids these days. Anyway, you can join us next Wednesday, January 24th. For our very next episode. And from my basement in Chicago, where it is very, very, very cold, I am Dan Sinker.
And Dan, I'm just reading the breaking news that the jury has been selected in the E. Jean Carroll trial.
Fun.
And the opening arguments start at 3:00 this afternoon.
Perfect. Should go great.
Let's see. Jury awash and registered. Many claim to be news agnostic.
Fun.
Yep. And the Trump is apparently sitting there, not making eye contact with anyone. So that's fun. He's close to me, Dan. I can feel him. It's a real disturbance in the force kind of a feeling. You want me to say my name?
I do.
I really just want to take back some of the negativity. It's going to be it's experience. And, like they say, may you live in interesting times. And these times are interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all one to grow on, isn't it? My name is Brian Johnson.
And this has been Says Who.
Shouldn't have thought about it too hard.
Good news, Maureen.
What?
There's only 11 more months and 16 days in this year. It's a leap year.
Dan, I had a great idea for merch for you.
Okay.
A prayer candle that you put out in so you can get it by the 1st of September.
Uh-huh.
And you burn down it has little marks on the hashes on the side.
Idea.
And you burn down to election day.
Whoa, that is a great idea, Maureen.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a good idea.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic.
No, I'm being totally serious. That is a great idea.
There you go. Did you guys want that? Oh, I think you're being sarcastic.
No, I'm not. It is a good, legitimately great idea.
It's your little light in the darkness, and you can a little
Look
visual.
At this.
What?
You're doing it. That's a good idea.
You guys, he's saying it, but you should see his face. It looks like he's being sarcastic. Anyway, you can have that one for free, Dan. There you go.
Wow. All right.
God damn it, Dan. Are you being sarcastic?
No, it's a very, very good idea.
No, it doesn't sound. He doesn't mean it. I thought you'd like it.
I do. Good Lord.
You were number one candle guy.
I know. That is a great idea.
All right. Well, then let's do it. You do it. It's yours.
Can do this.
All right.
All
Great.
right.